Hello everyone, this is part 20 of What If Naruto Learned the Secret of Shadow Clone, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Today was bright and clear, barely a cloud in the sky, and the sea breeze kept the heat away with ease. For the island nation of Uzushio, this was peak, be outside, weather. For Tsunami and Temari, who were walking out of the busy and still under construction train station and making their way down the main road, it was a welcome breath of fresh air. Sure, the ride from Wave to Uzu was only half an hour, but that was still a long time underground for those not used to it. Temari took in the atmosphere. The train yard was so busy with people and equipment, probably just as busy as Wave's port if she was being honest. You people sure don't know how to slow down, do you? Tsunami walked along with her hands linked behind her. We're a busy nation. Thankfully, without Naruto and the others going on any new raids and no new migrants, our population has begun to stabilize a bit. Just as well with the completion of the first rail line between Spring and Uzu, we are now getting steady shipments of both provisions and people back and forth. Tsunami had noticed people looking for manual labor work seemed to prefer Uzu and Wave, while craftsmen and heavy thinkers were going to Spring. It was a good thing to see the civilians making their own way like this, and it was going a long way to diversifying their lands. Temari noted as they walked away from the heavy industry of the train station and started to pass large open fields that the road they were on was just as large as everything else. Even out here it's so busy. What about your military? She was working now full-time as the ambassador between Suna and Uzu, someone else taking over with Konoha. They were still on the hush-hush, Uzushio still not well known among the larger nations. She had a feeling that was going to change soon. Tsunami couldn't answer her question, lack of knowledge on the subject tying her hands. You'll have to ask Naruto and the others about that. That's not my area of expertise. I'm more of an ambassador myself, so I deal with civilians and public affairs. Pausing to smile at the young woman next to her, Tsunami continued to lead the way. Think of me as the mayor of Wave. I deal with movements between the two countries and some ancillary tasks. They continue their walk, Temari watching a work crew adding smaller rail tracks along the center of the large road as they entered the residential area. Tsunami caught Temari watching the work crews. We're going to be adding in smaller rail cars in order to provide mass transit to the population. Temari nodded, something like this. Spring really is going to be making money hand over fist if they keep innovations like this coming. Tsunami sure hoped so, waving at a group of children running along the sidewalks. We've found there are innovations all over the nations that just haven't been brought together all in one place. So we're taking all those ideas and utilizing them. As they walked and weaved through the lightly populated residential area, the street began to fill with people as they entered the commercial district. The main tower was now in sight as well. Temari was frowning, however. Is it just me, or is the road curving slightly? Tsunami nodded. My father and Naruto designed the city into the shape of a spiral, commemorating the Uzumaki clan itself. Underground, however, there was a much more practical subway tunnel network that was still growing and set up in a much more practical circular grid pattern. Naruto wouldn't say what it was all for, but a good portion of it was for evacuation and hardened shelters. Coming out into the city center, Tsunami waved a hand at the tower. This is our main administration building, affectionately named the Uzumaki Tower. It serves as both commercial office building, central government building, and the Uzumaki mansion. She motioned out to the city around them, as more children run by while greeting the long-haired woman by name. We've started civilian schools throughout the city, though a ninja training facility is on hold for now. She pointed forward back towards the Uzumaki Tower. At its front, besides the entrance, is the Uzumaki Memorial. Temari took in tall reflective black spire with the bright red Uzumaki crest at its base. As they walked up to the entrance, she looked over the inscription. Laid to rest are the bones of the betrayed, but the dreams of peace live on. We are a people of resilience, of strength, of love. For the peaceful future we all wish for, never forget the fallen. Beautiful. Temari made sure to keep a short distance from the monument as to not step on a host of flowers that had been set at its base. This isn't an anniversary, is it? Tsunami shook her head. The people have taken to almost always having some flowers here in recent days. Tsunami had crossed the distance to one of the many doors leading inside, someone politely holding the door open for her as she bowed to him. It might have started when some civilians saw Ino leaving flowers here once they moved in. There's been a petition already about building a planter around the monument to having living flowers there instead. Temari nodded, bowing to the polite man as well as they entered the busy space of the interior. Would be a great tribute, I think. Looking upon the organized chaos of the administration floor. There was plenty of natural light from the wide open glass walls, the construction of the building being mostly concrete and glass from what she could see. Looks as busy as ever. The first floor ceiling rose above them for a bit, bright lights hung there, currently often unneeded in the daylight. Tsunami weaved through the space. Naruto wanted construction to at least pause for a while so everyone could take a break and focus on civilian matters. He wants to begin rebuilding the other islands next year, but that'll take more planning and resources. So what's all this about? Temari was looking around at all the civilians and tried to focus past the idle noise of people. The first floor is meant to be something of our welcome center. Here we handle new arrivals along with simple matters like registration, information requests, and civilian job boards. Tsunami leads Temari to the center pillar dominating the space that housed a wall of doors. Let's head up. Temari raised an eyebrow. Elevators, huh? Tsunami called one and they both entered with no one else joining them. Where's all this power coming from? A gift from Spring, generators based on the ones they used to thaw their country. They provide all of our electricity needs for the moment. Karen was talking about upgrading to thermal generators in order to use the Earth's natural heat deep underground. Tsunami made a face that showed she didn't really know much about it. Karen and my father talked about it once at great length. All I could gather was that in an emergency they wouldn't have to worry about ever losing power. Pressing the button for the top floor, they began to ascend. Temari leaned against the wall, the vibrations from the elevator working feeling good against her back. So what about the rest of the tower? The second and third floors are being furnished and reserved for the future civilian bureaucrat business and civilian law enforcement. It's coming along, but we haven't needed it yet. The fourth and fifth floors are going to be for ninja business, so mission intake and assignment along with record storage. Tsunami motioned down with a finger as well. There will be sub-levels for more secure storage as well, but again, not under my management. Tsunami hummed a bit as the lights on the control board moved from the 5th floor to the 6th. From here to the 10th floors are going to be utilized for civilian businesses. I've been seeing that civilian businesses needed to be abnormally close to the city center and the admin building. So in order to bring in some money we'll be leasing out spaces here. Generate money and provide space for work for your civilians, smart. We try. Above that, the 11th through 13th floors are fake. Fake. Why waste the resources on fake floors? Tsunami shrugged. Something Naruto and Kyuki decided on with my father. Something about buffer floors between everyone else and the Uzumaki estate on the upper levels. They'll be furnished as in tower relaxation areas and to provide a good view for tourists and the like. For now this is going to be the tallest tower in Uzu, so you can see pretty much everything from here. Reaching the 13th floor, the elevator pauses and dings, the door opening and Tsunami holding out a hand to keep Temari from leaving. They're greeted by a wide open space with glass windows and an amazing view, but not much else. Tsunami removes a slip of paper from her pocket and presses it against the button panel. It chimes again and the door closes and they continue upward. Can't have just anyone able to reach the mansion, of course. Plus the Uzumaki family has other means to reach their home anyway. Finally reaching the 14th floor, they open up into a large foyer where they can see staircases on their left and right with a wide hallway stretching out ahead of them. And this is the Uzumaki mansion. The space was brightly lit and felt inviting. Warm. They can hear people's voices echoing from somewhere, and while Temari looked around the luxuriously well done space, they almost missed Tayuya walking across the hall from one doorway to another. Yo Red. Temari's voice calls out. Tayuya pauses, looking back and spotting the pair. Yo fangirl. Tsunami. She waved a hand for the two to follow her. We're all settling in for a short meeting, come join us. They followed after her, down the hall to pass on their left an open doorway showing a massive dining room while on their right another door showed a larger-than-life kitchen. At the end they opened up into a large seating area, their living room, where across several couches and seating cushions everyone was chatting away with each other. Here Temari can see all of the currently known Uzumaki. Tayuya has jumped over the back of one couch, joining Karen and Ino in a talk about something weapon-related, though there were a lot of weapons magazines out mixed with some clothing-related ones. In front of them at a low table Naruto sat flanked by Kayuki and Hinata, going over paperwork and pointing at things back and forth. Naruto seemed frustrated and also seconds from flipping the table. On another couch Jugo was flanked by Kin and Sasam, one girl trying to feed him while the other was trying to get him to drink something. Both were occasionally firing death glares at the other while Jugo pretended not to notice. The last of the group was Kotohime, who was on another couch reading from a book until she looked up and noticed the newly arrived pair. The fangirl is here. That got everyone's attention. Temari. Fangirl. The greetings were all a mix of the usual, though her eyebrow twitched at the double meaning behind her nickname. So she made a pass at Naruto once or twice. She worked hard, damn it. What's all the hubbub about? She's looking at the group with Naruto, while Hinata leans back with a sigh. Funds. Our industry is coming along and things are getting better, but we're going to need an influx of cash to provide a much needed cushion, and soon. Farms in spring are coming along, but we're still having to import food, and Wave has been doing a great job of coming up with the money through shipping. But it's going to come up short soon, we fear. From her spot next to Jugo, Kin leans forward. I vote we start taking down some bounties for now, make a name for ourselves so we can start getting some missions from outside our borders. Sure, closed system economy sounded nice, until things stagnated. They needed to pull money in from elsewhere if they wanted to continue to grow. Across from her Sasam takes the chance to lean against Jugo, who blushes. There are some missions available through T, we could work through those. Kayuki follows Hinata's lead, leaning back away from the table with a smile. Tada from the land of hot water also has some work that needs doing as well. Naruto finally has it, hands scrubbing through his hair before he flops down on the floor. There's enough of us, we should just do everything. We can hit missions and bounty hunting and put together a team to head out to hot water while another stays here to defend a zoo. Ino has a senbon out, cleaning her nails with the end. The Chinoik clan has been wanting to get to work soon. This could be a good time to put them to use doing something. Their head, N, said something about a half-baked plan they had considered before coming here. Naruto's eyes went wide as he had nearly forgotten his scouting trips to the other islands. I need to talk to them too. One of the islands has a spring that has conditions pretty close to where they used to live, though much more livable. They might like it. Through it all Temari finally shakes her head. Even running a nation Naruto was just as chaotic as ever. Stepping forward she pulled a letter free from her kimono and handed it to Naruto, leaning over and intentionally giving him a decent view. From my brother, also with a message. The Kazekage would like an official visit from you sometime soon. Naruto blinks and accepts the letter, eventually shaking himself and unsealing 2 new Haration tags to hand over to the other blonde. Make sure those make it somewhere safe. I'd suggest one in your cage tower and the other in your clan home. Temari smirked and nodded, stepping back. Will do. Guess I'll make myself useful for the next couple of days before I have to head back. Tayuya shook her head. No way, bitch. You should stay with us. Hang out, relax, then you can head home. Ino agreed. Trust us, once you get Naruto working again he just won't stop. This'll be the last bit of relaxation we'll have for a while. Naruto grumbled, I'm not that bad. Hinata turned calm eyes down to him. What did it take in order for you to agree to relax for the last 3 months? Naruto's eyes crossed as he thought about that. We holed up in a hot spring resort for 2 days. Ino giggled, the memories overwhelming her in moments. I couldn't walk straight for days. Lucky bitches. Temari noted that the same sentiment came from multiple people all at once. She didn't let it faze her, but she was curious however because she was sure Tsunami's mouth was moving as well. Hinata placed a soft hand on Naruto's chest. You've indulged us and we've actually relaxed for 3 solid months. It's about time to get back into the swing of things. Ino mumbled, swings. Tayuya turned predatory eyes on Naruto. Do I have to go second form and tie you down? As another well-hashed conversation begins Temari shrugs. Staying for a few days doesn't sound so bad. Tsunami giggled. You'll have to get used to a certain custom of the Uzumakis while you're here. Can't be that bad. Tsunami turned to head into the kitchen, feeling peckish. We shall see. B. Far away towards the heart of Fire Country, Tsunade is standing on a platform built by the efforts of several Earth Chakra users. A crowd of civilians and ninja before her, as behind her 5 people are held to their knees, bound and gagged. Amplifying her voice, she decides today needs to be done and over with. Citizens of Konoha, by now some of you have questioned and taken notice that some notable ninja have been on extended leave, and our daimyo has made several trips to and from the village. Today I stand before you to lay rumors to rest. Behind me are traitors to the Leaf Village, guilty of defrauding and stealing from a prominent Konoha clan and enriching themselves for their own personal gain. Those actions led to an assassination attempt that had one of our beloved clans fleeing for their safety. Now found guilty by trail, there is only one punishment for treason in the land of fire. Throwing a hand and turning to motion to the group, Tsunade steals her heart, death by fire. Our ancestors believed that through this act their sins would be cleansed away, their souls released to be judged by the kami. Today we will see that done. Stepping away and out of the line of fire, she listens as the crowd offers their own thoughts and emotions on the matter. Honestly, she wasn't surprised someone had linked the explosion at Naruto's apartment with the boy no longer in the village. Eventually some of the people who had been saved by the boy had gotten curious and had started to ask questions. Questions that couldn't be answered right away. It had all culminated into this: people nearly worked into a rage over one of their village's saviors run out of the village over council members' greed. While Naruto hadn't asked for the deaths, the people surely were. Watching the waiting for Anbu to take up the positions, Tsunade raises a hand. Quiet takes over the square, until she lowers her hand as that of the executioner's axe. 5 Anbu members release grand fireball techniques, incinerating the bound prisoners on the spot. The stone construction holds up as it should, and after 10 seconds the techniques are released, nothing but ashes left that are soon blown away in the wind. Tsunade returns to the center of the stage, the Anbu remaining at her back. I hope each and every one of you can take this lesson to heart. Konoha is many things, but we will not tolerate traitors, especially when harm is done to our own. The wall of fire does not include those who hold malice or greed in their hearts. Keep true to our teachings, and rekindle your spirits. Here she bows to the people before standing tall. That is the end to this. Please return to your duties or your day. With that she turned to leave, dismissing the Anbu back to their own duties now that the execution was complete. Someone would be there soon to return the stage back to its place in the ground. Among the crowd the general sentiment was positive towards the Hokage. Several commented that she seemed stronger now, more in control of things. Some wished that she had done this sooner, while others mentioned that it was good that she followed the law as she did, which meant it probably took time. Overall, while an execution of civilians was never wanted, everyone knew it was necessary, while some hoped this meant they were on the path to having their lost clan return. Tsunade wasn't worried about any of that, joined and flanked by Shizune and Kakashi as she returned to her office within the tower. Not a word was exchanged between the 3 on the way up. Waiting until they reached her office, Shizune locking the door behind them while Tsunade reached her chair and nearly fell into it with a heavy sigh. What a clusterfuck. Tsunade-sama. Oh hush Shizune, you know it is. Tsunade watched the 2 before her before sighing heavily and reaching into her desk. Kakashi. Yes Lord Hokage. I have a mission for you and your team if you're up for it. Seeing him nod, she holds out a scroll and waits for him to take it. In the land of honey, the daimyo's wife Ko has gone missing. I want your team to look into it and give us a good showing. Kakashi nods and tucks the scroll away. We'll get it done. Anything else? Seeing Tsunade shake her head, the man turns to leave. He shares a look with Shizune for a brief moment before he is soon gone and out the door, leaving the pair of women alone. One of which is leering at the other with a smirk. Oh ho, what's this? Something going on between my oldest apprentice and the resident heartthrob. Watching Shizune blush and stammer lifted her heart somewhat. Maybe there was hope for the younger woman yet. We are, well. Shizune finally gave up and took a deep breath. We've talked, had a few dates. It's not serious just yet. We're just happy our plotting friends have left us alone for now. Tsunade shrugs, starting back into her never-ending paperwork. Well, I hope you take this seriously. You deserve to find your own happiness. Here Tsunade seems to wilt a bit, especially having to put up with her old washout like me for so many years. Seeing Shizune trying to spin herself up to defending her, Tsunade waved her off. No. I wasted years of not just my life, but yours as well. You deserve to find whatever happiness you can while we're here. I don't want to uproot us again without a real good reason. Shizune leans forward. You deserve happiness as well, Lady Tsunade. Why? Don't think I haven't noticed you've actually been nice to Lord Jiraiya. Tsunade grins. Pervert retraining is a constant effort. Don't you worry about that. Shizune shivered and hoped she never learned what sort of efforts that required. Well, just don't forget, you deserve love as well. Tsunade pauses from her work, looking at her apprentice. Well, my advice to you. Better snatch up Kakashi while you can. Never know. I've been so lonely lately, maybe I could break him in a bit for you. Cackling as Shizune retreated, claiming her teasing was too much. Scoring a point for herself mentally, the old woman did truly hope her dedicated student did something for herself soon. This world of theirs was harsh enough. Best to find what love and happiness they could while they could. Not everyone made it to old age after all. Speaking of, maybe she would share a drink or two with Jiraiya the next time he was in town. Getting back to work, idly reminding herself that she had a message to pass along to Naruto later about the fire daimyo, she settled in for another long day. Nighttime in Uzushio was an interesting time for many. The street lights dimmed after a certain hour, the nights were usually clear to reveal the star-filled sky, and for many who were winding down it was wonderful to sit out and just enjoy the atmosphere. For the Uzumaki family, that usually meant their slowly becoming most enjoyable tradition. Family bathing. Tazuna had heard about their little gatherings and had decided to go all out on their bath. The top floor had been split into two halves. The front half was the access stairs, the changing rooms, as well as showers, a sauna, and a steam room. The rear half was dedicated completely to a large swimming pool-sized space. A long bank of one-way windows gave them a view of the city and the outside world, while above them a glass roof gave them a clear view of the night sky. Tonight's gathering, however, was soon to be joined by a serene Tsunami and a relaxed Temari as they walked out of the changing room and came out into the large bath. Temari had her eyes closed as she breathed in the heated steam that smelled of either lilacs or jasmine. This is nice. Temari was removing her towel as she opened her eyes, ready to relax with all the girls and maybe gossip a bit. On display, she paused as she locked eyes with Naruto, a smirking Kyuki in his lap. Ah. Naruto raised a hand. Yo. He was doing his best not to react to the woman sitting sideways in his lap, but he was failing. Blush now at full power, her towel was immediately closed. What? Tsunami, however, was lowering herself into the water, towel folded up and joined in a line with many others. I did warn you. The Uzumaki love to bathe all together. It's actually becoming something of a social norm in Uzushio. Many of the civilians were emulating the Uzumaki family, for better or worse. She had heard more than a few worries about children wanting to take up explosive arts like their Lord Naruto. Yeah, guess you did. Temari had a debate with herself, before she did much of the same, eventually removing and folding away her towel and joining Tsunami in the bath. Somehow I feel like your description could have been more detailed. Karen is grinning as she overheard the other woman. Where's the fun in that? From her lap perch, Kyuki looks around a bit. So we're slotting the next month to work on missions and bounty hunting. Should we discuss that for a moment? Something hotter than the water was starting to press against her and she was doing her best not to let on she knew what she was doing to Naruto. Hey. Naruto picks up the conversation, eyes moving away from the usual wrestling match between Ino and Tayuya. He waves a hand towards Jugo. Since the land of tea has requests for us, I think it's best if Jugo, Kin, and Sasam handle that. Plus any bounties that might be in the area while they're there. Naruto winked at Sasam. I know you aren't an Uzumaki, but you'll help out Jugo, right? Sasam blushed but nodded. Of course. Everyone could tell she had feelings for the bigger team, even if she hadn't come out and said it yet. Is the plan still to share some of the missions with the Fuma clan? Naruto nods. That was the agreement. We share missions and what profits we get from those shared missions. We want to make friends and allies. That also means making sure our allies are doing well. He didn't want a repeat of the meltdown between Suna and Konoha. Tayuya pipes up. pulling Ino's arms back while a foot was in the small of her back. Me, Karen, and Kotohime can go hunt down some bounties. We're probably the most self-sufficient grouping outside of you. Unless you're going to do some bounty hunting. She had to defend herself as Ino eventually twisted free and turned the tides on her. Naruto shakes his head, wrapping an arm around Kayuki both to bring her closer to him and to also stop her maddening wiggling. There's a request from the land of hot water that might require lots of manpower. So I'll be handling that one with Ino and Hinata. Tayuya pouted, those two get to go to a hot spring again. Lame, I wanna go. Naruto smirked, how about if your group brings in some good bounties, or even better, if anyone finds another ninja clan to bring in, we'll go to Hot Spring for a vacation during our next break period. That amped up Tayuya instantly, throwing Ino off of her as she pumped a fist in the air. Hell yeah. I want pampering and relaxation too. Karen rolled her eyes, you act like Naruto doesn't pamper you. Tayuya chuckled, well, I mean, yeah he does. But vacations are different, ya know. Ino latched onto her back and both girls disappeared into the water. Taking in the controlled chaos with a smile, Temari finally speaks up, staying low enough in the waters to keep things covered but offer a view nonetheless. Please make sure, Naruto, you need to visit my brother at least once sometime this month. Naruto nods, will do. Get those seals placed and I'll come when I have a few days free. Naruto gains a thoughtful look, after this next month, this might be one of the last times I've got the free time to be outside of the city. Especially as we start building up ninja forces. Tsunami nods at that, working hard not to doze off in the happy atmosphere. You'll have to be more present soon in the day-to-day operations of the city. At least until we come up with a civilian governance body. She'd need to get on building that up. She needed an Uzushio counterpart. Yeah, I know. I have to thank you and your father, you've been some major help through all of this. Tsunami waved him off. We're your people, my lord. Though father has said if you want to thank him, then fill these halls with little feet soon and he'll call it even. Naruto coughed while in his lap Kayuki made a show of leaning into Naruto more fully. Oh, we'll get right on that, Tsunami. No worries. Several of the other girls blush, but it's Kotohime who begins to wade towards them. I wouldn't mind assisting with that now as well. Hold on there, Mega Milk, there's an order here. An order? Karen looked out the window, watching a large serpentine shadow move through the coastal waters. Reminded of the conversation with Tazuna, she began to make her way forward as well. I think it's more of a first come first serve. Tayuya was already tossing Ino away. It's we're gonna brawl over it, let me. Second form coming out, she smirked, slip into something more appropriate. All the good food on a more regular basis was helping her fill out much more appropriately. Naruto certainly liked the view. Tsunami sighed as she began to pull Temari away, who was watching the ensuing brawl gearing up. Is it always like this? Temari was asking while wondering if she wanted to get in on this soon. More or less. Usually Naruto ends up making clones and placating the girls with massages and back rubs. True to Tsunami's words, Naruto did just that. A crew of clones taking each of the girls and taking them to lay out on the tiles to be attended to. Kayuki small smile as she leaned down to kiss the boy softly. Temari and Tsunami were approached by their own towel-clad blondes. You'll get used to it, maybe. Tsunami was happy to be led away. Sure, she wasn't a member of Fox Den, but getting pampered never hurt. Temari took the offered hand and let herself be led off to the side to get a back rub, idly noting that Jugo, Kin, and Sasam were all blushing and talking to each other quietly. Skinship was big with the Uzumaki, wasn't it? When in Rome, she supposed. And she'd need to ask about that fox head tattoo on Tayuya's ass. It looked similar to the one on Hinata's lower back that she could see. In a different tower hundreds of miles away, Nagato and Conan stood alone in his office while Hiden and Kakazu left after giving him a new update on civilian villages. Their next mission would be a bounty hunt job which should keep them busy for a while. Nagato sighed, something is moving in the background. Conan nodded, do you think it's something to worry about? We're just about ready to start really making a push to start capturing the Biju and sealing them away. She thought back to Itachi and Kisam's encounter with the blonde container of the Kyuubi. That of course led to Deidara's plea that they capture the boy and not seal his Biju. I'm not sure yet. It's why I also sent out Sasori and Deidara to have a look around. Someone is making waves with civilians, saving them, moving them away from combat zones. Nagato frowned only slightly. Someone was changing things, better for the civilians, but the ninja villages were beginning to catch on and it was bothering them. As if less people suffering was a bad thing. Do you want me to look into it? She wouldn't mind getting out of the tower for a while, maybe be paired up with one of the others. She wouldn't mind trying to drag Itachi along with her. Nagato could feel the woman's emotions and sighed. Maybe he would need to help out his longest living friend. Possibly, but we need to have a better idea of where things are going first before we move. Building a weapon so terrible it puts the major villages at a pause is a massive undertaking all on its own. But, it was here his thoughts strayed, thinking it over. Someone was saving people, preaching peace while also being willing to kill. If more civilians can get behind those hopes, maybe a few of the villages as well. Would they even need to go through with this? For the first time in a long time he was unsure. For now I've heard both rumors going around the country of Wave, and the country of Spring. Here he looked Conan in the eyes, head to Wave, alone, and have a look around discreetly. Then return. I don't want you gone for long and avoid conflict at all cost. It'll be done. With that she left the office as well, travel plans filling her head. Maybe she could stop over in the land of tea, pick up some of their special blends. Guess this also meant she'd have to ditch her usual attire if Nagato wanted her to keep things quiet. What should she wear? So many decisions to make. Naruto wasn't one to believe in omens or fate. If anything, he was someone who fought against those superstitions almost fanatically. As the sky slowly became more and more overcast as the day went on, he was starting to wonder. Masks on while he read over the mission scroll again, he frowned as they walked along. On either side of him Ino and Hinata took in the hilly countryside that they found themselves traveling. Apparently Taida, the land of hot water daimyo, was concerned about his neighbor, the land of frost. Citizens from the neighboring country have been seeking asylum in greater numbers and it was becoming a problem. At first it had been minor, something that looked like normal immigration. A few months however and it had started to become a serious burden on Hot Springs' economy. So here they were to inspect whether there was some emergency going on, from a famine to possibly some epidemic. It was more concerning as well that Taida hadn't heard from the Frost Daimyo about the situation. So here the team was, a letter of admittance from Taida as they traveled an empty road. Moving north as they were, the weather was rapidly beginning to cool, snow covering the hills while in the distance they could make out snow-covered mountain ranges. That most likely was the border with lightning in the distance, but they shouldn't need to go that far. Coming up and over a hill, they could look down into a valley to see the Daimyo Palace itself, surrounded by farmland and a smaller village not far off. Should we inspect the village first before we talk to the Daimyo? Hinata leaned in to ask quietly. Something in the air was bothering her. None of the people they had passed on the way here looked healthy. Malnourished, desperate in some cases, but oddly not sickly, at least not visibly. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I wanna talk to the people first before the daimyo. Naruto's eyes raked over the palace, taking in the lights and what looked like multiple smoke trails from chimneys. The village however was dark, not nearly as many cook fires from homes. He was beginning to get the same vibe from the place as Hinata was. Let's go. Ino pulled the hood up on her dark blue cloak, matching the others. It looks like it'll start raining any minute, or snowing I guess. Going from the warm seaside climate of Azu to this was miserable as far as she was concerned. But they needed to build a reputation and make some money, so she shouldn't complain too much. At least she was getting more alone time with Naruto. Down into the valley they went, angling first to the village to mingle about the villages. There they split up and began to question the locals for information. Ino first runs into a mother helping her daughter on their porch, working on her makeup and helping clean and brush her hair. Ino is curious, and comes up to ask them since they're the first people she's really seen moving about. Excuse me, can I ask you something? The mother looked up towards the masked woman, fearful at first but calming as she doesn't see a frost headband anywhere. Of course Ninja-san, what would you have of me? Ino looks around slowly. Why do things seem so run down here? There has been a larger than normal amount of people leaving Frost. The mother nods, going back to brushing her daughter's hair. We've been receiving larger and larger taxes as of late. The daimyo hasn't said why, only sending out his ninja to make sure he gets paid. One way or another, the last part was mumbled, but pausing here she puts her brush in her mouth as she works her daughter's hair into a delicate and intricate hairstyle. The daughter picks up her story however, looking straight ahead with no emotion in her dark eyes. The best you can hope for right now is to gain the daimyo's favor. That's where I'm headed, to hopefully become one of his women, to at least earn some pay. Ino shuddered internally before bowing to the two. I understand, thank you. I won't bother you anymore. She turned and left, off to look around some more. Things were bad enough that families were selling off the children. Ino shook her head to free herself of her thoughts of judgment. This wasn't Konoha. Things like this happened in the smaller countries, even if she felt like it shouldn't. Something must be going on right. For the daimyo to be taxing his people so much. Hinata was in much of the same boat, having just run across some children who claimed to not have eaten in days. It was easy for her to hand over several ration bars to them, easily getting answers that there was a food shortage and not everyone was eating. The kids didn't understand it, the adults mentioning something about a hard crop harvest and poor weather. Hinata sent the children off with a wave, weaving through the closely built homes and using her Byakugan to link back up with Naruto and Ino. So there was a famine, but that still didn't account for why the daimyo apparently wasn't requesting aid. Naruto had found himself sitting on a barrel while chatting with a group of men. So the harvest was weak this year. Yeah son, real grubby. And now the snow is a-comin' and we've got no stockpiles for the winter months. The older man, bald and grey, spit on the ground. The ninja keeps squeezing us for money we don't have and the promise of imported food never comes. We're gonna die at this rate. Another man was sitting on the ground, looking into the dirt. My family has been here for generations. I don't want to just pack up and leave. Might not have a choice sonny, think of that wife of yours. They all devolved into bickering back and forth, but Naruto got enough info out of it to nod and make his way back towards the road where he could see Ino and Hinata waiting. Linking back up with them within a moment, he waved a hand. Daimyo is taxing the hell out of them. Naruto's tone shows that he is more than a little upset over this. Ino can agree. Hinata points to the fields surrounding the village. Harvest was very weak this year and a famine has set in. Sickness is beginning to set in as well. In the more tightly packed area of the village, Hinata had been inspecting things with her Byakugan thoroughly. Several people were stuck in their homes, weak and ill. With people weak from hunger, it didn't bode well for their immune systems. If something didn't change fast, these people were going to die in droves. It would be a race between starvation or illness that did it. Naruto started walking, the palace visible on a hill overlooking the village not even a full mile away. Then it's time to get straight to the source. Ino lightly touched his shoulder. What will you do? Our mission was just to observe. Naruto shrugged. Since when do I ever do just the minimum? Ino nodded. Good. I wanted to make sure we weren't going to just leave these people to suffer. She thought back to that mother and daughter, the dead look in their eyes. She didn't want to see anyone with that hollow visage ever again if she could help it. In this instance, they could. On they went, making their way publicly along the road towards the traditional-looking palace while Naruto considered just what he would do. This country needed help, and they were already somewhat in the red with their own people. Maybe there was a chance something was going on behind the scenes and the daimyo was doing the best they could do. Naruto couldn't put it past himself that maybe his judgment was off because of his hatred of anything political or controlling. Taking a breath and exhaling steam, he decided to give the daimyo the benefit of doubt and held out hope that there was a reason for this suffering. Getting onto and in the palace grounds was rather easy. They had a scroll with the hot springs daimyo seal which let them through. The grounds were well kept within the walls and as they were led by a ninja guard inside the main building, they had their first look at just where some of the tax money seemed to be going. In the front rooms there seemed to be a gathering in full swing, good food and full tables, what looked like local lords and ladies dining together as they passed multiple rooms. The group removed and sealed away the cloaks, no longer needing them in the warm and stuffy building. Naruto's mood soured quickly watching it all, not needing the abilities of the emotional sensing mask to tell him just what these people were like. They were finally led to a larger hall, a banquet in full swing where at the head of the table they could see a shorter older man, frost headband firmly in place and gleaming, and surrounded by geisha and well-done ladies. Hinata leaned close to Naruto. He has a headband, but little chakra. Not a ninja. Ino leaned in as well. What are the odds that's the Frost Daimyo? Naruto shook his head as they were led around the table and to the daimyo's side. No bet, this all reeks of corruption. Everything about the interior of the palace screamed a mixture of gluttony and opulence. So much for giving the daimyo the benefit of the doubt. Off to the side, Naruto idly spied another taller blonde man in a standard special forces mask. Mask left blank, the ninja was being attended to by two young ladies who had smiles that did not reach their eyes. The daimyo was laughing, having just whispered into one of the finely done geisha's ear while the woman giggled and smacked his hand away from her. He was sure to have taken it as flirty, while all of the ninja present knew better. Eventually his eyes landed on the group, eyes crossing a bit as he tried to focus on them. Who are you? Naruto stepped forward, holding up the scroll from the hot springs daimyo and showing his seal there. We're here on behalf of the land of hot water. Apparently there has been a massive wave of people leaving your country and we have been sent to find out the cause. The daimyo grumbled, mood beginning to sour at the nosy busybodies. Well, if they left they weren't really my people, were they? The Frost people are a proud type, they'd never fold to a little bad weather. Now leave, you've seen things and you can see I'm doing just fine. No need for concern. Naruto sealed the scroll away, hands calmly at his sides as he thought that over. Yeah, there's a problem with that. Lazy eyes turned back to the boy before him. Who dared to talk back to him? Naruto, however, was beginning to grin behind his mask. See, the problem is that the people are suffering. That suffering is leaking out to other countries and now we can see for ourselves it's all rooted in your quest to live comfortably and enjoy a luxury you really don't deserve. What gives you the right to force your people to suffer? People you are supposed to lead. Right. Ha 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 ha. The boy talks about my rights. He laughs louder, drawing the room's attention as he finally waves the courtesans away from him, clearing the space except for one woman that he draws into his lap. You have a lot of nerve, boy. Playing dress up and standing before me as if you could lecture me. Bringing a hand up, he snaps his fingers, the man in the corner standing and coming to rest at the daimyo's side. I have all of the divine right that any daimyo has to make decisions for my people. Those decisions must be made with a clear heart and mind, and that requires rest. Hands disappearing into the geisha's clothing, the blush and grimace on her face tells Naruto and the girls exactly how she feels about it. This all means I must be stress-free. Get it? And you're stressing me out, boy. Naruto shakes his head. Well, true to our word, our mission was to just confirm the situation and report, nothing more or less. He had no intention of following through with that, but goading this old bastard on would probably get him to fly off the handle first. Hopefully. He didn't want to leave things as they were. We'll take our leave then. Leave. Another chuckle. No, boy. Another snap and the room is completely cleared of everyone except Ninja and the geisha in his lap. You won't be leaving here now. You know too much. Here's a new offer. You can submit yourself to me, your little girls can join my harem, and we'll call your lives payment. Sound fair? The daimyo licked his lips as his eyes roamed over Hinata and Ino. Or you can die, your choice. Naruto was willing to put up with insults to himself, absolutely. It wasn't the worst that had ever been said to him after all. Watching the daimyo roam his eyes over his girls, however, set off something ugly in his chest. Hand slowly coming up, his mask changing from the happy ornament to the manic red Hanya mask, Naruto shook his head. Yeah. I'm gonna have to blow you and all your friends away then. No one is touching them. Ha 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 ha, are you daft, boy? You pretender. You think you're the maelstrom when I've got the real thing right here. Motioning to his side, the taller blonde puffed his chest out a bit, a holder of the explosion bloodline, a true wielder of chaos. What hope do you have of touching me? Ino can't help but giggle out loud, and on Naruto's other side Hinata's shoulders shake, but not much else. Why you laughing? Have you fallen for this boy's lies that deeply? Stupid women can never think for themselves. He snaps another finger. Kill the boy, capture the girls. Whoever brings me his head can have whichever one they want to themselves for the night. They'll make good meat sleeves for the rank and file later. Several ninja surge forward, but Ino reacts faster, Senbon spearing forward to drop 4 men before she surges into the group, earth chakra pumping through her system being used to strengthen herself and toughen her skin. Opposite her, Hinata utilizes her mask's features, building a barrier to block the kunai strikes of 3 ninja before jumping into taijutsu range. Dropping the barrier, she quickly performs several juken strikes to each of them in order to paralyze and leave them helpless. She has to keep on the move, creating barriers to keep her back clear while using her natural flexibility to make strikes that none of the others can block. Several ice shuriken smash against her blue barrier and hold, and she watches as Hiyataka receives several senbon in the back for their trouble. Behind them, both Naruto had unsealed his sword and was slashing forward in a high arc designed to hit the daimyo but spare the woman in his grasp. He was blocked by a Fuma shuriken held by the taller blonde opposite of him, though he was struggling. "This all you got, kid?" The strain was evident in his voice. Naruto made several clones with a thought, 2 coming forward to lay glowing hands on his opponent's chest. Time to see who the real maelstrom is. Hapal. Low-level explosions knocking the enemy ninja away. Naruto watched as 2 clones had already captured the daimyo and were holding him down, with the woman being ushered away to safety by another clone. "I'll deal with you in a minute." Jumping forward, he swung his sword hard, futon, daitopper. The blast of wind knocked the ninja through the wall and out into another hall, and Naruto was quick to follow him with a cackle, "Let's have some fun." And then he was gone. Behind him, Ino and Hinata are being forced to work back to back. Hinata is creating temporary barriers to keep away the frost ninja, while Ino is putting them down with her poison senbon and the occasional low-yield exploding kunai. Hopping away as one of the frost ninja tries to capture her, his hand meets the floor and a layer of frost is left behind. "Oh great, they freeze things now." Hinata frowned as she dropped one barrier, again surging forward and striking one opponent 3 times in the legs. Jumping away, she watched as the man convulsed and his legs cramped up hard. She heard the snap of bone and knew he wouldn't be getting back up for a while. That looks like it hurt. Rolling backwards over a ducking Ino, she was there to first disable an outstretched arm with several more well-placed strikes, while next creating a barrier behind her newest prey. Behind her, she missed Ino laying a massive punch into the chest of a burly-looking man who was immediately folded over her fist and launched into the wall. Having room to breath, Ino flipped her hair away from her face. "Easy work." Hinata grins behind her mask. "How boorish. You're one to talk, little Miss Milk Jugs. Jealousy doesn't behoove you, Ino." Hinata looked around, Byakugan activating to show that indeed the room was empty. Taking a deep breath to steady herself, Hinata joined Ino in walking up to the captive daimyo. Ino is cracking her knuckles with a smile on her face. "What was that about wanting to make meat sleeves out of us?" From a wall panel, a frost ninja attempts to get the drop on him, releasing several kunai-shaped ice projectiles at the girls. Hinata erects a barrier, chakra beginning to get low, but she's able to block them, while Ino holds up a finger, chakra welling in her eyes. "Something new for you." Releasing the technique, a modified version of her clan technique that did no more than scramble the pathways in her target's brain. Unconscious before he hit the floor, they were again truly alone. Huffing, Ino turned to Hinata. "You didn't catch that one. Blind spot." "Ah." Ino nodded, going about the room to tie up and pile all of the enemy ninja together while the daimyo began to rant and rave. "Who are you brats? The hot water daimyo didn't send you. You're here rob me, aren't you? What do you want? Gold? Jewels? Money? Take it." Hinata walked up to him, chakra welling up in her hand. The maelstrom was telling the truth. He and the Riptide members were only here to observe the situation. She leaned closer, causing the man to flinch. "You've made a grave error this day." Bravado failing before the threat this girl was putting off, the daimyo shook his head. "No, no, no. See, that fake? Yeah, that fake. He was the one who was ordering me around." He looked between the clones and Hinata. Nodding quickly, he turned back to the girl. "He said he was the maelstrom, exploded some of my ninja and threatened my people. I had to do what he said is all, that's all." Hinata stepped away, already mentally done with the coward. "Your fate now rests with the maelstrom, not I." Checking their surroundings again, she frowned as more ninja were gathering in the courtyard. Incoming. Both of the remaining clones rose to her sides, one tossing a suppression seal on the daimyo to keep him from moving. One clone looked to the other. "Should we try a bait and switch?" "Oh, that plan. We haven't had a chance to try that out yet, have we? Now would be fun." Ino finished her self-imposed task, piling all of the groaning enemies against a far wall before walking over. "Do we want to know Clone 1 grinned, nah, it'll ruin the surprise. Clone 2 made a ram sign, transforming into the guise that was the very likeness of Tsunade dressed in a fairly loose kimono, if she were perhaps 20 years younger. Oh, this'll be good. Clone 1 followed her lead, transforming into one of the basic Frost Ninja before Clone 2 leapt into his arms and pretended to be knocked out, assets just barely held in. Operation Get Help, in effect. Ino sighed, I'm so telling Tsunade-sama when we see her again. Ino also had to question, just how did Naruto know her well enough to be able to transform into her, and copy her voice? That was a situation worth looking into. Clone 1 saluted over his shoulder, she'd find this funny as hell. Hinata shook her head, the gathering in the courtyard. Thanks. And then the clones were gone through the front main doors. Ino sighed, should we be worried? Hinata nodded, for the Frost Ninja most likely. The room rattled, and both girls turned back to the hole in the wall Naruto had disappeared through. He should be about finished soon. Through said hole Naruto has having a blast, sword arcing out in tight swings and quick jabs, his faker retreated quickly. He apparently truly was a holder of the explosion bloodline, able to turn anything his chakra interacted with into an explosive. Fun, but a downside he was finding. As Naruto avoided a downward foot stomp from the man with a shunshin that placed him at the man's back, the floor exploding before Naruto caught him with a swing of the Kubakiri Boko. There was a second of resistance, before Naruto cleaved through a broken section of floor, a quick Kawarimi saving the man. Well, not completely, as the line of blood across his middle was any sign when Naruto caught sight of him again through the smoke. Give it up, kid. You have no chance against the Maelstrom. I wanted to just humor you, but it's time to go. Naruto paused and tilted his head. What do you know about the Maelstrom? What? I am the Maelstrom? What kind of question is that? Surging forward with a shunshin, a glowing hand missing Naruto and hits the wall, Naruto himself dodging away with ease. His enemy was much slower than his clones. See, problem is, I know you aren't. 1. The Maelstrom is just some kid from Konoha, you're a little big for that. Swinging the Kubakiri Boko like a bat, he released another futon, Daytopper at the man to fling him away. 2. Your eyes are the wrong color. Naruto dodged away from another grab attempt, the wall exploding behind him as he hopped away. 3. Well, he applied chakra to his eye, making sure to hold eye contact with the man. The look of dread that crossed his face was priceless. Oh come on, if you're gonna fake it being me, at least be good at it. Eyes blazing, Naruto made a new brace of clones and sent them after the man. An explosion blocked his view for a moment in the hallway, before he cleared it with an application of wind chakra and revealed the man panting and bleeding in the middle of another great hall. Walking forward with his sword on his shoulder, Naruto sighed, you're no fun. Your explosions aren't artful at all. There's no flash, no excitement. Boo. 0 stars. Boo. You're insane. Insane. Naruto tilted his head and nodded, probably. Here Naruto leapt forward again, sprinting within range to begin slashing and hacking in the wider space. The explosion user did his best to defend himself, applying chakra to the floor when he could to create distance and sometimes tried using the very walls. When that failed, he tried to snag Naruto's sword, which had said boy grinning, ooh, you must love shrapnel. What? The explosion from several seals lined through the sword caught him full in the chest. The larger explosion rocking the building, and Naruto watched as the enemy nin was tossed again through the wall and into what looked like a hidden room. Walking into the dimly lit space through the smoke, Naruto sniffed as he noticed literal piles of gold and jeweler, nice silks and all manner of other luxuries he probably couldn't name. No wonder this country wasn't doing well. He could probably fund Uzushio off of this hoard. Seriously, this is like B-grade bad guy stuff. Mask cracked and falling apart, Naruto could finally see the face of the man he had been fighting. Roughly in his mid-20s, there was a scar that ran from his right temple to his left, like someone started to scalp him but then stopped. The blonde hair was his, but more slicked back and short. Gritting bloody teeth, the man forced himself to his knees, blood pouring from his chest. Of interest to Naruto, however, was the slashed-out Iwa headband on his forehead. I won't lose to some brat. Not after I found such a good gig here. Naruto, however, was ignoring him, a bingo book unsealed, and he was flipping through the pages. Ah, there we go. Nakamura Inaki. Run away from Iwa's explosion core. Pretty decent bounty too, even with a high B rank to a lower rank rating. Welp, looks like we're getting that vacation after all. Nakamura surged forward, the last of his chakra built up in his right hand. I won't die here. Hand making contact with the boy's mask, his control fizzled out and the technique died. What? Naruto thrust his sword forward and pierced the Nakamura's chest, allowing it to drink greedily from the man to repair itself. Yeah, I never mentioned it, huh? The red mask lets me negate lower level ninjutsu. So your little baby explosions were never really a worry for me. Watching the life leave Nakamura's eyes, Naruto pulled his repaired sword free and sealed it away. It took an extra moment to prepare and seal away his body, but eventually Naruto stood to make his way back to the others. He'd be having words with the Frost Daimyo. The girls are standing over the Daimyo as Naruto returns to the dining hall, mask still in place but now back in his usual Oneman mode. Naruto, however, doesn't spare time. Ino, mind walk him, would ya? On it. The Daimyo looked on in fear as the girl made a peculiar hand sign. Wait, wah. He slumped over to the floor with a thud, Hinata grabbing Ino's own body to keep her from falling. Hinata looks up to Naruto. How bad was it? Naruto shrugs, making more clones and sending them to guard the door. Not too bad, guy had some boring explosions, nothing to write home about. Only you could call some explosions boring. I'm a man of good taste. Hinata motioned down to herself. I can agree with that. Minx, you love me. Ino gasped, coming back to her body in a rush. Shivering and rubbing her arms, she has to hold herself back from stomping the daimyo's balls in. He's a monster. Naruto frowns as Hinata tries to calm the other girl down. What did you see? Ino slowly regains her composure. It's more than just the taxes or the luxuries he buys himself here at the palace. He orders the ninja to take whatever beautiful girls from the villages, whether they want it or not. He makes them. Naruto holds up a hand. Say no more. A Rasengan suddenly blooms to life in his hand. I'll make this quick. Hinata makes sure Ino is steady before walking to Naruto and holding a hand to his chest. Beloved. You can't. Naruto blinks, not moving, but making a show of looking down on the knocked out man and to the Rasengan in his hand. It'd be really easy actually. Like breathing, or stepping on bugs. There were a few things that set off Naruto straight to violence. Forcing anyone to give up their freedom, slavery, yeah. That set him off right away. Beloved, if you kill him he can't answer for his crimes. That also means his people not only won't get justice, but all of his hoarded riches won't make it back to them as well. Let the people see him for what he is, let this country heal on its own. You've done your part. Naruto took a few deep breaths, focusing on Hinata's worn hand on his chest. You really know how to calm the beast. I try. Sighing, Naruto wills his chakra construct away, turning as the main doors burst open. The group of ninja are singed and burned and more than a little worse for wear, but they looked ready to fight at least even if they were wary of the shadow clones. Naruto isn't having it. Unsealing the scroll from Taida again, Naruto raises his voice. Listen up, Frost Ninja. 'Cause I ain't repeating myself. Seeing he had everyone's attention, Naruto pointed down at the knocked out daimyo. How are you okay with a man like this leading you? How are you okay with seeing your own people suffer like this? This is crazy. There's quiet among the group, some shuffled feet, before someone pushes to the front. An older man in worn armor comes forward, gray in his beard and streaked through his hair. I am Yamamoto, captain of the guard here. To answer you, we didn't have much choice. We swore an oath. Our loyalty is to the daimyo, we have our honor to maintain. Naruto rolls his eyes hard and groans, honor. Naruto points behind them, back towards the run-down village. How is it honorable to watch your people starve? To watch mothers and fathers sell off the daughters? This suffering, you're okay with it all. What about your friends, families? What if it was them? Naruto receives no answer and he almost spits on the floor in disgust. Yeah, you put up with this shit and for what? For him. Great choice. Naruto takes a deep breath to calm himself. Then takes another for good measure. Y'all have two choices that I can see. Either take back your country and help it heal, or I'll do it for you. Yamamoto shakes his head here. Powerful though you are, there's no way we'll accept some outsider taking control of us. We'd rather die. Something in Naruto snaps, drawing on some of Kurama's chakra as he directs real killing intent towards the gathering of ninja. Helping your people is really so much harder than setting aside your shitty honor for a short while. Are you kidding me? Blue eye changing to red, ripples circling his purple eye. Naruto is ready to lay into the men. You could elect a new daimyo, make changes, unless you really believe this shithead is worth so much more than any of you. Under the pressure, the frost ninja begin falling to their knees under the oppressive aura. It was like nothing any of them had felt before, almost as if they were staring at death itself. Hinata walks forward calmly, a gentle hand laying onto his back. No chakra needed, she stands there and waits for him. Naruto responds, slowly relaxing and releasing his hold on Kurama's chakra. It takes a few moments for him to be back to normal, the boy sighing heavily as blood leaks from his left eye. Kneeling down to grab the daimyo, he tosses the old man over his shoulder. If you want help instead of someone to lead you, send word to the land of spring, they'll help you get back on your feet. I'm building an alliance of smaller countries. People who have been exploited and used, much like yourselves. You don't have to do this alone. But, if you want to, I can't stop you. In the back there's a hidden room with a ton of gold and jewels, use it. Help your people. Yamamoto frowns, stepping forward slowly. Why would you go so far? You could kill us easily, level our forces. Why extend a hand to help us? Naruto shrugs, both girls coming to his sides and holding onto his shoulders. I know what it's like to be used by those you trust. To be blinded by duty and honor. Learning to look beyond that is really the hard part. Naruto points at the older man. If you do ask Spring for help, ask for Sandayu, he's a good guy, he'll direct you to who you need. With those final words they're gone, leaving the frost ninja alone as Naruto's clones all disperse. A random ninja walks up to Yamamoto. Did we really just let them leave with our daimyo? Yamamoto sighs, taking a moment to firm himself before standing tall. Our daimyo was a traitor and a fraud. Go confirm that the horde is there. If it is, begin making preparations to buy and distribute aid to the civilians. This has gone on long enough. He wasn't happy about being lectured by a child, but he couldn't deny the young man spoke the truth. Perhaps they had been ignoring the obvious out of the useless sense of honor and duty. No, not perhaps, they had been. Things needed to change. Far away, Naruto carries the knocked out daimyo while Hinata passes a green hand over his face to check over his eye. Ino walks beside them, writing in a scroll to list all that she had seen within the daimyo's mind. It was a long walk, first to the local bounty station, and then to the land of hot water's daimyo palace, but they would manage. Naruto sighs, think Taida will be upset. Is the sky blue? Ah, God, why do we love you? 'Cause I'm awesome. Hinata giggles, poking both of her loves. Let's go, we have a lot of ground to cover. B. Somewhere in a land of tea forest, Jugo, Kin and Sasum make camp and are resting after a productive day. It had been easy to clean up a few bandit camps that had rolled in after Naruto's first major pass through the country, and now their next mission was to make for the port town at the northern border, another location Naruto had previously helped out. This time, however, they were to board a ship and pursue pirates that had been giving the locals trouble. At the moment, however, Jugo is staring up into the tree cover, taking in the sounds of the forest and enjoying being able to have a moment of peace. On one side, Sasum is attempting to make a campfire meal, while on the other Kin is maintaining their weapons, something she was finding she was pretty good with. Shaking himself, he decided maybe he could take a page from Naruto's book, being more forward and honest with both himself and his feelings. He had grown close to the girls traveling with him, and he knew they had some type of feelings for him as well. I have to say, this has been pleasant. Jugo's voice cuts through the night, Kin and Sasum looking up to the bigger boy. I have something to say to you both. Kin is instantly attentive, weapons away and hands in her lap. I'm listening. Sasum has to keep stirring the stew she's attempting, but she locks eyes with him and nods all the same. So am I. What's wrong, Jugo? Jugo takes a deep breath. Be like Lord Naruto, just less chaotic. I realize you both have feelings for me, and, I don't mean to offend, but I don't know what to do. I like you both, yes, but until recently my whole life was focused on ridding myself of this curse, of not passing it on to anyone else if I could help it. Now that it's taken care of, that I have options in regards to controlling it, well, it's opened up the possibility to a real and full life, and I don't know what to do. I don't want to treat you wrong, but I don't have experience with this. Seeing the boy finish, Sasam is ready to bury the hatchet with her rival immediately. If he was going to be as clear as he could with his feelings, then so would she. I'm willing to help you through whatever feelings and confusion you have. I like you, a lot, and I'd like to explore that. Kin sighs as it wasn't like she could be upset with Sasam. After all, the girl has excellent tastes in men, first Lord Naruto and now Jugo. Well, if you're going to think about rebuilding your clan in order to truly be a retainer of the Uzumaki, then you'll need help. Kin looks up to both of her teammates, the current cell of Riptide. I'll be here, with you both, together. Sasam smiles brightly. We may not be like Fox Den. We can't share like them. Kin picks up on that as Jugo shakes his head furiously. We can share with each other because we're both Fuma girls, but you try to run around on us and we'll be having words, got it? Jugo nods quickly. Like I said, I still want to figure out my feelings. I'm attracted to you both for sure, you're both beautiful girls, but my feelings. Emotions, those are harder. Sasam leans over, a hand settling on top of his own. That's okay. We'll be here to help you through it all. You aren't alone. Not anymore. Kin grins, channeling a bit of her sister. Don't you worry, I'll help you through the more carnal side of things. Sasam rolled her eyes. Please don't turn into your sister. One Kotohime was bad enough. Seeing Jugo blush, Kin shrugged. I don't know. I think Jugo likes the idea. Jugo chuckles. I think I'll have to work up to any of that. I don't have the stamina like Lord Naruto does. Kin nods. I almost feel bad for our lord. The girls are going to wear him out one day. Sasam agrees. Like some men would say, what a way to go, right? All three share a look before laughing together and getting back to helping prepare a meal. Secretly all three share a united thought, a silent prayer. Good luck, Lord Uzumaki. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.